What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Scene Snobs Reviews, and this is going to be a bit of a longer one. Usually it's just me talking at you about the movie and what I thought about it. And today we have a very special guest, but we're going to get to that in just a sec. If you've never watched our reviews before, just know that they are spoiler reviews. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the movie, maybe go check it out. Come back, watch the review, and then get into it with us, because we don't just sit here and tell you what we think. We also tell you like all the things about the movie, the interpretations, what we came away with it, and things like that. So that way we can have that conversation. Join us in the comments and let us know what you think about it. I love whenever you talk about all the older movie reviews we do and the impact those movies had on you. So it's a lot of fun to be able to hear from you guys and stuff like that. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, and make sure you comment along with what you thought about Backrooms and your interpretations, because we'd love to talk about it. But today we are talking about exactly that, The Backrooms from 2026, directed by Kane Parsons, starring Chiwetel Ejiofor, Renat Reinsve, who you might have just seen from last year's Sentimental Values, which she was up for an Oscar, and of course Mark Duplass from Creep. Oh shit. And of course, Mark Duplass from the Creep series. They're all here. This is a fun one. Kane Parsons is actually the one who took the idea of the Backrooms and that lore that happened on the internet, where it got people really sparked, that one photo and the short paragraph of what the Backrooms are. And then he took it and he ran with it and made an entire sort of found footage Backrooms short films, this whole series that was put together that builds out the lore even more, and it's fantastic. I did not check those out before the movie came out. I've been making sure to go back and check them out as we're going, and I'm learning a lot. I really enjoy this series, and I'm glad Sturdy's here to talk about it with me, and we're going to get into it, but let us know, like I said, in the comments what you thought. Now, welcome Sir Sturdy from the Horror Sir Sturdy podcast, Popcorn and Pints, Sturdovision podcast, as well as the Sturdovision channel. The man knows horror. If you need somebody to help you in the journey of life through the horror genre, he is the guy you need to follow and go over and check out his channel. Welcome, Sir Sturdy. Please tell us what you got going on.
I appreciate that. And well, I've been on vacation for a couple of weeks, so I'll be back this week. This Thursday, we'll be back with Horror with Sir Sturdy, another episode on there. If you want to watch us live, go to the Sturdovision channel right on YouTube. But we'll be reviewing Bring Her Back. And I'll say, because of this film right here, Backrooms, and this liminal horror, all I'm going to say is there's going to be a new segment starting this Thursday, because I'm just like, we were talking about it pre-show. Mick said he liked the idea, and I'm just like, it would just make the conversation a lot more entertaining. I just have to figure out where I want to put it in the show, but we'll get there. But I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be back. It was a nice 2 weeks off, but it's like, I missed it. I'm not going to lie, I missed it. Missed it a lot. And again, it just feels great to be back. It feels great to be back and talking horror again. I know you guys seen us on Popcorn and Pints, but talking horror is my thing, as Mick was just saying, and I'm just so freaking excited. I've been having a really, really good time reviewing the movies from last year. Again, like I said before, it's a fun way to really catch up with those movies from last year and have these discussions with, again, I do a spoiler show, so I look at it like they've been out for a full year now. If you haven't seen them, just watch them before you watch my show. If you haven't seen them, watch them before you watch the show. Mm-hmm. If you don't care about spoilers, then tune right in and have a good time listening to lives and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm glad to be over here on the Scene Snobs talking about Backrooms with Mick.
I'm so glad you're here, man. It's so much fun to have you. And we always have fun conversations. And we were talking about liminal horror after you watched this. And I know you are such a huge fan of the found footage aspect of this. And with Backrooms not being a found footage, but it's birthed from a series that was found footage. Mm-hmm. And I love when you do on your show, you'll take like a month here and there and you'll be like, we're just found footage. I want to find some new stuff and talk about it. And it's always a lot of fun. We found some good ones through your show. Being on it, or even just watching and listening as a fan. And with this one, I thought it would be interesting because, like, again, we were talking about liminal horror. You like Blair Witch, which fits under that umbrella, and there's others as well. How do you feel comparatively? Like to me, it felt like this should have been sort of not should have been. I don't want to put it on there because this is such a great movie, but it could have really worked as a found footage. Did you like the regular narrative that they went with on this, or would you like to have seen it as found footage?
I could have definitely seen this as a found footage, especially with I can't remember everybody's names in here, but the one guy was recording with them at first. Mm-hmm. Him and the girl, just them. It's their tape that's been found for this whole craziness that's been happening. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not mad at the way they went either. Like, I thought the way they went was very interesting. And this movie, like I was telling you before we started, this movie confused the hell out of me. Like, it's something that I definitely have to go back and rewatch and probably watch it at least maybe 2 more times, honestly, just to really get it down. Because it's just, I'm like, what did I miss? What am I not understanding? What's going on here? I'm not mad that I don't understand it, but I want more, I want a better understanding of it.
Oh, absolutely. And so let's start there. So like when we were talking about the found footage, I liked how they incorporated it in. I thought it worked naturally. They set it up perfectly. So when we get into those found footage jump scares, I was like, could this whole movie work this way? And honestly, like I've taken a step back from that. Not that it wouldn't work that way. I do like this narrative that they built in the first person and following these characters, I should say, and as they discover the back rooms, I felt like it gave us more of an intimate look to not be in the found footage realm. Like we got maybe not more questions answered, but more exposure to the back room. I always feel like found footage, you're kind of taking a step back when you watch it. You're being very voyeuristic. Whereas, yes, we're watching a movie, so it is voyeurism in a way. But to me, it felt like you're kind of in it with them when you're understanding these characters in and out. And I think that was an important part of this movie. So what we have here is a film that follows a struggling ex-architect after he and his wife had split up, and he's living in his furniture store, which he runs as Pirate Clark. His name himself being Clark, and he is sort of just fledgling throughout the entire thing. And as he goes on, he's visiting a therapist, trying to work through it, all his anger issues, his drinking, things like that. Well, one night he stumbles upon in the basement of his furniture store a doorway through the wall into the back rooms. Now, the back rooms are an endless sort of living thing that keeps copying itself and creating new rooms and such to make it as big as it can. As described as a 600-mile wide room, I don't know if that is what's adopted in here. I've been watching again, I'm waiting on the found footage. I have to get to all the details first, so I don't know everything. But in here, it is endless. He walks around. It's all different shapes, all different sizes. Things are all over the place, and they don't always feel right. You do not feel right in this spot. And all the while, we're following this gentleman, and he gets his employees involved to go and explore, and things go haywire wrong, and we'll get to that. His therapist comes in, who has really been trying to work with him, and when she has some sort of trauma within her own past, stumbles upon the back rooms trying to look for him. And when she does, she finds him, and things go wild. And you do find out that there is a company that is at the helm of this, who knows about the back rooms, may have even created it themselves, and I have theories on that. It's called Async. Mark Duplass plays a scientist that sort of looks after the back rooms, goes into them, looks for things. And that company may be a little bit more sinister than they're letting on. And there's a lot of questions that they leave open for interpretation in this. But I think I've pulled away a satisfying story in my mind. I'd love to know what you guys think before so make sure, again, you comment. But Sturdy, before we get started into all the interpretations and theories and things like that, I want to talk about the characters first of all. What did you feel about these characters? I liked everybody in it. I thought they played well.
Agreed. And first of all, I gotta say, for a movie like this, the acting has to be on point. If the acting's not on point, this movie does not work at all. Because there were scenes where the main gentleman,
Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is a fantastic actor.
Yes, there's times where you think he's crazy, he is nuts, insane. And I love when you're watching a movie, and again, something like this, even more so, to where these actors make you feel like that their characters are the real person, like that's really who they are. So you have that love-hate for certain actors during the movie. You're like, oh, I can't stand this actor in these movies because of this. This gave you that feel, because with him, like when he's talking with the therapist at first, and the role playing as him or her being his wife, and you're just hearing the things that he's saying to it, you're just like, no wonder she fucking left, man. Damn. Yes. Like there's a nicer way of saying, like, listen, I had a long day at work. I'm exhausted. I'm sorry. I'm tired. Things are tough. I'm stressed, blah, blah, whatever the case may be. Not what he said, which was pretty much get up off your ass and work and this other stuff. I'm just like, there's a way better way of saying that. There's a way better way of saying that. And I'm paying for your school and all this other stuff. I'm like, if you didn't want to agree to that, if you didn't want to agree to, like, say, if it's like, hey, listen, you're married. I'm married. If our wives came to us and say, hey, listen, I'd say you could handle the bills on your own. Just say finances, we can handle the bills and take care of, we have to take care of on our own the finances. Hey, I was thinking of going back to school for whatever they're doing for their field. They're going for, and you agree to it. Okay, cool. You either agree or you disagree to it. But once you agree or disagree to it, there's no going back about some bitch. Like, that's what he was saying. Like, bitch, I'm paying for your items like that.
Yeah.
So that right there, I'm like, I could see why his life kind of was in shambles. I mean, everything was in shambles for him. His store was in shambles. He couldn't sell anything. He's doing this whole pirate gimmick, and it just wasn't him. Like, I felt like the store wasn't working because he was never being himself.
Mhm.
And I feel, in a way, the back rooms, I could be wrong with this because there's some other stuff going on with those back rooms with that company. But it almost seemed like, at least at first, before he knew about that, like the back rooms are trying to help him find himself or something, and he just wasn't doing it, because every time he went back there and then went back to his therapist, the more honest he was.
Again, I'll save it for the interpretations. I do agree with you to kind of touch on those points. I think that the back rooms was to kind of, I'm trying to not go too ahead of where I am, but I think the back rooms is, and to explain it later, scanning his mind. He's sleeping in the furniture store. The back rooms is clearly connected to the furniture store. So how long has it been like scanning his mind? And the reason I say that is because we see glimpses of things. We see the still lifes they talk about, the Pirate Clark entity that's in the back rooms eventually that we come across, and certain interactions and things that kind of work there. I took away from that personally that they've been scanning his mind. So like the still lives are memories, whereas the Pirate Clark, in my interpretation, is his trauma. And that's why he can move around and like he scares other other people, and he can attack and things like that. But I took that as like, because Async is an old MRI company, it's that now it's basically the Backrooms has become this MRI that's just living and creating constantly. If you see like certain rooms, like they sort of mirror where we're at. Like, remember that whole area where it was just like kind of like a square, but on the outside it looked like a reverse apartment building with like a big courtyard in it.
Yeah.
To me, that was the copy of the building they were building on Mary's mother's house. Yeah. Remember when she's visiting, and you saw the picture, and we see the sign down in the back room. So I'm seeing it as like whoever enters, the memories start getting built.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And when we saw Clark, he's always drawing. He was an architect that failed at being an architect. He likes to think like he had to work, so like he couldn't be an architect. Clearly, it's his drinking, his anger, and all his issues.
Yeah.
But we go on to find out he doesn't want to give up. So that's why he's struggling so hard to be a member of society that connects. It's because he doesn't want to be. He doesn't want his wife back. He doesn't want all that. He wants to complain about it.
And you know what's funny about that character, and what I enjoy about that character at the same time, is it's so realistic to where we both know people like that. And I'm not taking any shots. I'm just saying we both know people like that. We all know people like that in this world, to where for whatever reason they just cannot get out of their own way. Like, you could lead them to a wide open door, and somehow they're still going to trip over their own feet and hit their face on the door on the way out when the door is open, and just keep getting in their own way, but blaming it on somebody else. Well, if you didn't do it, what the fuck if I didn't do what? If you start taking responsibility for your actions, you'd be in a lot better place. Think about that.
Yeah, and I think that's what he's building on. He's building on these things. He's always racing, it seems, in his own mind, and he's always anxious. Like, you always see him like very anxious and like short with people, short-tempered, and I don't think it's just the drinking that led to this. I think he has severe traumatic issues that we didn't get into. And the reason I play into that is because I think the Captain Clark, or the Pirate Clark entity that's in the back rooms, definitely like alludes to that. And like, we'll get to there when we do. But you were talking about when Mary and he are talking in their therapy session. That's perfectly juxtaposed later when they're in Clark's kitchen, which I thought was interesting. Because that's the story that they're role playing. He was in the kitchen and he broke a glass, and the wife was came in, and he made it look like the wife was complaining to him. Like, oh, you broke another one, you're drunk. She's standing in the corner cowering. The still life version of her is memory. So like, if the back rooms is your honesty, like, because it only scans your mind, it's not what you tell it, it's what it sees. It doesn't do it. And the beauty of it is, like, when we see the layers, because that's what an MRI does, right? It scans our bodies or minds and stuff in layers and then puts everything together. that's what I felt it was doing. As the layers go on, you see like the house and it's regular, and then you go to the next one, it's a little different. Then the chair is sunken into the ground, or this. I think the more layers that it takes pictures of in the natural way that an MRI would, it's creating these rooms and these things that are just off. And I think that's what's creating, your mind can't deal with it. Your mind is fracturing because you're not remembering all the memories right. Or, by not remembering them all right, but you're remembering them exactly as you do. The Backrooms can't put them together like you can. That's why I think you can interact. So I love all the characters that they did. He brings in, I think it's Bobby or Robbie or something, and his other, I think I had her name. I love her work on Kat, Lakita Maxwell. She played Kat in the movie, his employee. She's on a great show called Shrinking, does an amazing job. I really liked her in this. Everybody did a good job. When he pulls them in for their expedition, if you will, into the back rooms, they start to get attacked. And do you know what they get attacked by? Because I didn't pull away from, I just figured that I figured if the back rooms is scanning Clark's mind and creating all of these things, it's almost looking at anyone who shows up in it as foreign entities. That's what I took away from it. And so like it starts to attack them.
Oh,
that's why Clark walks away not dead. Like it didn't attack Clark at all. So I'm wondering if or maybe it could be Pirate Clark, the entity that's in there that attacks him and whatnot, as he's forming and things like that. But so you get through it, they get killed. His and I love how they played it off, that they go missing. They have the missing posters in there and everything, because these memories exist, and as you go in, you start realizing it. And I think those are Mary's memories, the missing posters. I don't think Clark left. I don't think he really left since they went missing. I think he found the place he wanted to stay, and the longer he stayed in there, the more they could scan his mind. And that's when you started to see more still life show up. That's when you started to see Pirate Clark become Pirate Clark and things like that. So I think once you get to that point, you have Clark kind of show up, or Clark's in there. Maybe he goes out into the store and calls her and says, I'm never coming back. Don't worry about it. I took that as like he's telling her I'm done, and he's staying in the back rooms.
Okay.
And that's when we get a glimpse of Mary. And I realize I'm broad strokes going over this, everybody. So like if you do get a chance to see it, and we're happy to touch down on anything, but we will get more in depth of things. But Mary, of course, we get a glimpse back to when she was a child, living in this house with her mother, who's I think with schizophrenia, has everything boarded up, says we can't go outside. She's surrounded by moldy food, dust, just disgusting everywhere. And then like they bust down her house, and then all of a sudden we snap back to present days, or in the 90s when this takes place. And Mary's older now, kind of remembering those things, the house being broken down. Then her mother was put in a mental hospital, and she had to deal with that. A lot of people are associating that Mary's mother might have been in the back rooms and gone crazy. I think that was a way for us to see why Mary got into psychology or psychiatry or whatever, she's a doctor, why she got into it, why she wants to help people. But ultimately when she's like, I don't even know if I am helping people, when she talks to Clark later, I don't know if I am helping you. I don't know if you can be helped. So I think that to her was like her realization of like, she's trying, but let go of the guilt. You're not the one that's making this happen. Some people don't want to change. That's what I took away from it. And like when her memories start coming in, it's because the back room is now scanning her. Now they find another mind to kind of go with. Yeah. And if you notice, after she comes in, the back rooms start to look like things. When Clark is in there, it's jumbled. It's sort of a mess. Like you have his store in there, but it's all like all the furniture on top of each other. Like, and I took that as like, that's his anxious mind, not being able to be an architect, not being able to piece things together. Even the drawings that he makes, they're all very absurdist and oblong and things like that. And so I took it as when the backroom scans his mind, that's what we get. And then later we have Mary's mind being scanned, and we could talk about what happens to Mary after the doctors save her and she gets away from Pirate Clark and stuff. But ultimately, I think this is a movie for me that is dealing with and showing how our trauma, not just our traumas, but like our trauma, our thinking, things like that, all not only make us who we are, but how it affects us. So I figured what we could do now that, we kind of went over everything, because at the end, we do see, she talks to Mark Duplass's character, the scientist, and we don't know what happens to her. Then we start seeing glimpses of Mary's memories in the back rooms and all these different things that were built off of her memories. And then you have a Mary still life just sitting at the table like she was when she was being interrogated. A lot of people are wondering if she turned into the still life or if that's just a memory of hers kind of living there and maybe she died or she's still in there or something like that.
Yeah.
I interpret it as she's either out or died.
Out or died. Okay.
Because the still life is there, so it must have created a memory in her, about her. But it wasn't. Yes. It wasn't an entity like Clark's. You know what I mean? I took that as she's probably doesn't have all that same trauma. Like she deals with her trauma, is what I'm saying.
That I would say that, and she doesn't spend as much time as he does in those back, because you got to remember he lives there. Like not only does that his job, like that's his everything, and he barely leaves that place. He leaves it to go to therapy. Like it shows him leaving to go to therapy and stuff. And obviously he has to leave to, do lifely things, but he's back there. And now that he finds these back rooms, that's all he's doing is that. So it's like, it's going to eventually be a part of him. Like you said, with the entity be him, his entity in there versus her. She goes there. When she go there twice, right?
She only went there the once when she,
or the one time.
Yeah. When she finally finds him, when she's looking for him, when she gets the call that he's not coming back. And then, I subscribe to that. They never let her leave, because in the found footage there was another guy that never let him leave once he had the back room. So, and I don't think they would have added, to me, and again this is just my interpretation, but to me I thought they wouldn't have added that line when they what do you call it, when they say when she says to him, can I leave, and he's like, that's not up to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the still life there, I looked at it as either she could be like a prisoner there and that still life was created from her memory. Like maybe she's not there, but she's not home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like she's still in proximity. It created a still life. And that's why she's sitting there sort of like looking bored, looking like she's a prisoner, sitting at that table. Or she could have died in the still life. That's all the still life has of memory of just sitting at that table. So there's a lot in this movie to kind of pull from and figure out. One of the big things about the trauma side for me was like the Pirate Clark scene where Clark and Mary are sitting across from each other at Clark's kitchen in his house in the back rooms. And if you notice, that looks like a kitchen. Now it's still off, like the window looks a little weird.
Yeah,
there's still lifes there that you're not really quite sure who the still lifes are. A lot of people put together that the bearded still life sitting at the table was the meter man. He wasn't. So we just don't know. That could have been a guy that Clark passed on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that. That's why I figured like he started ripping into them and eating them, because he's like, they're edible. It's like marshmallow or whatever. And so like he started eating them and took away from to me, it was like that was just a passerby in his life that he created. Could have been her father. Who knows? It's just a memory. And because his mind is fractured, he doesn't remember. Well, we don't all remember everything perfectly anyway. But even his wife was like, you would remember your wife. You had a picture of her hanging up on your wall.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I'm like, you would have remembered what your wife looked like. She wouldn't have looked like that, because remember, Mary's a little fractured, but you could tell it's Mary, her still life. You could not tell it was his wife that was sitting there from our pictures and stuff. So I'm wondering if his mind is so fractured, his memories can't be trusted.
I feel that way. I feel that way, and not only that his memory can't be trusted, but it's also him still not taking the responsibility of everything that led up to where he is now is everyone else's fault. I feel that could be kind of a blockage in his mind. So he's still seeing things how he wants it to see. Even when his mind goes back, like, yes, you may be getting more from the story as far as like, what happened with him and his wife at the table and all that, when him and Mary are playing it out again. Well, not when they're role playing, but later when they're showing it again, when they're in his kitchen.
Yeah.
And he puts the wig on her and all that stuff, the hair on her and all that. And it's like, he's sitting there, he's telling the story, but he's still, I feel like, what we're seeing and what he's saying, he's not seeing what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's seeing it a completely different way, to where it's like,
I agree.
To where it's like, he comes home, she's just lazy, does nothing, absolutely nothing. Goes to school, yes, but maybe barely passing. It's just like whatever. And he just does everything, takes care of everything, to the point where she doesn't take care of the house. They set a third. I'm just saying whatever their agreement is, and she's not leading up to. That's the way he makes it seem. And it's not that at all. But at the same time,
I took abusive from him.
Yeah, very.
Like, not just with words. Like, I took, like, he's probably, like, when she was cowering over by the sink, just the still life kind of sitting there, like, not saying, not that it would say anything, but not moving or anything. But then when you hear the footsteps of Pirate Clark, she hauls it and runs out. And what that's like, abuse is abuse. And like, you hear those footsteps, you get scared, you want to run or you want to hide, you want to do stuff. And I thought that was an interesting take, because once she starts running, it's like, what's coming? And then when he turns around, and he's now, by this point, to kind of jumping ahead, but he says to her when she screams at him, and is like, you're the problem. You think everyone else is the problem, but it's your whining. You don't accept any accountability for your actions or your words or anything else. And this is why your life sucks. It's you. You're not an architect because you don't act like an architect. You don't go out there and do the job. You're not a good, you don't have a wife because you're not a good husband.
Nope.
So when he finally accepts it and looks at her and he goes, maybe I don't want to change. I don't think I do. I looked at that as like, that's less fractured of a brain. And now he and Pirate Clark, the entity that's in there, which I took as, if you look at his face, the Pirate Clark face, a lot of people are laughing about it because it doesn't look scary. He looks worried. But that's all Clark does, is worry. He's always worried he's not good enough. He's always worried he's not going to do well enough. He's always worried his wife's not going to come back or this. And he's blaming everyone else. So like, I took that as like, that's his trauma and everything he did and all his mental anguish and stuff that he goes through. And so when he finally says, it's fine, we figured it out, we're good. What does he do? His trauma consumes him, which if you don't deal with your trauma, it's going to consume you. And I thought I didn't think it was heavy-handed either. I thought it was played well. And then now that he's the top entity, the Pirate Clark, he wants to kill Mary. He blames things. That trauma, that's how he deals with it. He blames things and he puts it on others. So now he's coming after Mary. And that whole chase though, that was a creepy looking puppet.
It was at times, especially there was a part where she's like, I forgot what the heck she was hiding behind. But you see its face come like in between two walls. You're like, oh wow. Like, yes, it has a silly look to it, but it's like that. No, that's some creepy. Because at times, that creepier look or that scarier look can be that silly looking thing that's popping in your face versus like the whole scary looking thing you're expecting to be scary. Because you're not expecting that to look come in there like, oh shit, like, oh damn.
Dude, they did so much with this one. Like Kane Parsons, I got to give him a lot of credit. As a kid, I mean, I think he's like 21 or 22 or something like that. And I know a lot of people are like, a lot of people are like in this weirdly controversial state on it, where like somebody that young couldn't have put together a movie so intricate. I don't know what you're talking about. Most of the best filmmakers that you remember today started in their 20s and were making things that were influential. So I don't know what that means, but like this dude walked in and after building out this lore on his own on his YouTube channel, steps up and makes this movie that, in my opinion, is one that wholeheartedly is a brilliant film. It makes you think. Is it perfect? No. Is there a lot of perfect things about it? Yes. And the one thing I love about the story is the interpretations. They may be an answer for them, but your interpretations, they don't feel unfulfilled. So I feel that makes a good mark of a good movie. What do you think about it?
Let me think about that one for a minute, Mick.
Yeah. No. Listen, there's a lot to unpack in this movie.
There is, and again, like I was saying earlier, this is definitely something I got to watch at least one more, maybe even two more times, just to really get more out of it. Because off of a one-time watch for a movie like this, it's just there's so much that goes on.
Yeah,
there's so much that goes on, and on top of that, there's a lot of important dialogue in this movie that I feel you can pick up on probably with a second time watch. Because as I'm watching it the first time, I'm not saying I'm not listening to it, but I'm listening to it as more of a conversation, just the conversation going on throughout the movie. But now I'm like, there's definitely certain things that I know I missed. Just again, big thing is going with the role playing thing.
Yeah.
When he's first talking to Mary, if you ignore that whole conversation, when it goes back to it, when it's in his kitchen in the back room, you're gonna be like, what's going on here? Why is that? But when you see it like that, you're like, oh, this is how it really went down, because you've seen how angry he got when it was him and Mary. One thing I really, really, really enjoyed about that scene was like after the role playing part, I forgot what she asked him, and he was like, who am I talking to? Am I talking to you, or am I talking to as you or my wife? And he's like, no, now get out of that. Now it's back to the therapy session.
Yeah. And
you seen how his attitude shifted, completely changed. Yep. It's like it was like a switch came on, which is, I don't know if there's like I'm not trying to make a joke of this, but I don't know if it's like this abusive switch. Like, okay, here's my victim, switch on, now I can be tough. Oh, victim's gone, switch on. Now it's like defense mode, poor me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why my life is like this. Because that's what it seemed like with that switch. Because his attitude completely changed to where like even his shoulders and his body language was way more relaxed when he was talking to her as Mary than as his wife. And I'm like, that right there is, again, I bring it up a lot. Scenes like that and films are so important because with the body language and all that, because that really, really, really brings it to a scene, really sells the scene, really makes you feel like you're watching, like, it almost takes you out of the experience of watching a movie in a sense where it feels like you're just on the wall, just watching this go down. You can't do anything about it. So I'm not saying you could jump in there and be a hero, but you can't do anything about it. It feels less like a movie when scenes really, really knock it out of the park like that versus when you see the conversation going on, but there's no body language, there's no facial expressions, there's no nothing. It's just me and you talking, so to speak. And that takes away, or it brings a lot. And some people may say it's, it's simple, but it's really, 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 really important in my opinion, especially with scenes like that to where you have a lot of dialogue. You don't want people getting bored from the dialogue. You want people to be locked into the dialogue. How do you get locked in? Being locked in. How do you get locked in when if you hear your siblings arguing or something funny, it's how they are. It's how they're acting. It's the body language. You're like, I know where this is going. I know, just by body language, you can see, how certain situations are going to go down just by, I got to get up and go break this up, or nothing's going to happen. This is going to be a yelling match. Yeah. And with this, like, I just love the fact that how I almost feel to where if he was still in that mindset of not talking to Mary, he may have got up and approached her because I feel he really damn near seen his wife in that conversation.
Oh yeah, and I think it was a matter of wanting to see her. I think that was for him in a way because he's not getting closure from the Mary still life. It's not the Mary still life, his wife's still life, because nothing's happening there. Like yes, she may be afraid of Pirate Clark, but she's not afraid of him. Like but she is cowering from him. So I think there's still that essence of like in his memory, he can't hide the subconscious from the back room. So the subconscious is going to always show him. I think that's why Pirate Clark is such an important entity to remember here, is that that's the way he sees himself, crooked and broken and like always anxious and having this worried look on his face and being sinister. He won't say that. He doesn't want to believe that he thinks that of himself. But I think because he's such a victim and he plays the victim card so much, he's always lying to himself. And that's why the back rooms are so messed up, is because they're trying to sort of copy these memories, in his head and build out from there. So if he's always lying to himself, like I'm a great architect, but everything looks messed up, even his drawings, they don't look like buildings you would ever make, or anything like that. Yeah. So I think when you have that aspect of it, all of those lies are what why you're seeing not just the still lifes, not just the entities, but like why the rooms look the way they do, why they're all jumbled and stuff is because he's not thinking with a clear head, and it's just copying the lies and the subconscious and all of these things that are seeping through. And that's why I think like when you see Mary's, they're a little more put together. They're still memories. They're still distorted in small ways, but remembered a lot better. She has a clearer head. She has a clearer mind that can deal with this and kind of pull that out. And I think seeing her mother, if there is a Backrooms connection and we ever find that out, or I need to watch it again to see if I missed something. But like her mother and how she acted and keeping her in, like Mary learned to deal with her trauma. Clark never did. And that is ultimately why we got what we got. But then Mary deals with Clark's trauma. So like I thought it was kind of funny where it was like she dealt with her trauma, didn't have anything in there against her except Clark, who she's trying to help. And when she couldn't help him and everything, and his trauma consumed him, then it came for her. But she was smart enough to get away. She was smart, clear-minded, smart enough, knew how to deal with it. And she took that piece. Remember, she took that one piece and like made him bleed. She took that piece that was a form of her trauma, her last bit of it, and used it to save herself. So a lot of layers in this one. And I'm not using it as a pun, I promise, but a lot of layers to this one I just thought really worked on so many levels. Do you see this as a movie that, not that it's not deserving, but should have a sequel? Should we keep building on the lore of this?
Honestly, I would say yes, because I'll go back to pre-show. We were talking about, again, with liminal horror, and we brought up Cube and different movies. Yes, but just they did quite a few of those, and maybe they overdid it, maybe they didn't. That's not the point. But I do feel just having a couple more to kind of tell the story more, to kind of get a better understanding of the back rooms, get a better understanding of the cube in that sense. So yeah, to get a better understanding of the back rooms and kind of see where it goes, or maybe even where it started.
You know, it could be an interesting, like if you not maybe anthology, but you do take the idea of like if it is scanning the person is in there's mind or people's minds who are in there, because we did see Bobby and Kat had their mind scanned too. Like we see Bobby's apartment, you know, and stuff like that. And I think the reason you can make out all of those, like the row, because like we see Clark walk down a row of houses to Bobby's house to get him in the real world. And then we see her run down the street and there's all those houses that look just like the outside of where Bobby's houses were. A little more put together, a little bit nicer. I took that as that's probably one of Bobby's memories that was scanned and put there, you know, mixed.
I'm sorry, but it's given me kind of just in the sense of almost two worlds, but not two worlds. Us in some ways, some way, just because like when he's in the back room, completely different. And I know it's the two different, you know, with the people and all that stuff, but just when he's back there, it's like he's in this other world and he's just other mind, other everything else, almost where he wants to be, I'll say. And then when he's in the real world, you see how he is, especially when he's not thinking about his wife. When he's talking to Mary and all that stuff, he's a completely different guy. He has zero confidence. He makes terrible commercials, dressed as a pirate. Like that, oh my gosh, that scene was so freaking funny. That scene was so freaking funny, but it was sad in the sense of like, again, I'm gonna keep saying this, but if you take responsibility for your actions, all that stuff, take accountability, you'd have the right group of people around you to have that store running the way it should be, to have a really good commercial, even if you don't have the pirate twist, the fun pirate twist on there, but a really good, fun commercial to have that twist on there. If you weren't so self-absorbed of thinking you're an architect that sells furniture, instead of just saying, listen, you're not an architect, it didn't work, put all it towards selling this furniture. Use your architecture skills to furnish the store, as far as, well, not furnish the store, but as far as like having a nice layout to where people want to go in there and buy stuff. Boom. But you just kind of,
it does.
And what I liked about it too, though, is I feel like it's one of those movies you can learn something from, where it's like, this is what can happen to you. I'm not saying in the sense of the whole back room and all that other stuff, but it's more so of like a mental aspect, to where you don't want to take accountability. You want this, that, and the third in life, but you're not taking accountability for anything. You're not really trying. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing to get there. You're gonna end up working at a failed furniture store and still pointing fingers at everybody.
And it only fails because he's not putting into it what he needs to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because he could look at it, okay, you know what? For whatever reason, he didn't, you know what I mean? Minus the drinking and the alcohol, this, that, and the third. Say he has the talent to do it. So, okay, you know what? I got bumped down to here. If I want to get back there, I need to be successful here first. Build up, sober up, get your therapy, you know, get your store running right. And then, hey, you know what? I'm getting into therapy. See if you can fix things with your wife, even if it's just friends. Fix that.
I just don't think he was capable. I think that's why ultimately, like, even when he says it, I agree with you. So even in like a normal level-headed person who's dealing with this, like if Mary was in this situation, she'd probably be able to make it work. He can't. I think he was so addicted to the back rooms and wanting to be in the back rooms, because he doesn't like people. He's nasty to everyone he talks to. He tries to come off as like this people person, but he's not. I think he's making the videos because he thinks that's what needs to be done, which is funny because he has a video out there. Like we see the doctor played by Mark Duplass when he's sitting with his family. He watches a commercial and there's one already that exists. So he's like, I realize like business is failing, but it's almost like when he's making that video in the beginning, it's desperation, and he is in a flooded zone of like not thinking straight. Let's just do it. We need a new video. We need something to get people in here now. No credit, whatever. And so that's why he's running around like a maniac, like trying to do it and running and not stopping and be like, all right, let's go set up over here. He's like running from one section to the other and falling down and all this other stuff. And again, blaming everybody else. The chair sucks, this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, because your store sucks because you don't have good stuff. So my takeaway with him was like, once he found the back rooms, he found this thing where he could be an architect in his mind, even though they're creating, he can like use his memories will create it. So like whatever he thinks of is going to be scanned and created. So like to him, he's like, I'm automatically an architect. So I think that brings in like the conversation of AI.
Oh,
You know, like this guy who doesn't really have a creative side to him steps in. And we were just having this conversation the other day when we were talking about thumbnails and things like that. You know, and I think he's a guy who like maybe doesn't have that visual acuity, that talent to like come out of something out of nowhere. I'm similar. I don't have that brain that can do that. Like I can piece things together. You know, I can edit things. I can make creative choices, and I can write things. But
Yeah.
like I couldn't create a building. You know, like I'm not even a great graphic artist. Like I do pretty well, and I've learned a lot. But that's skill more than talent. You know, learn skill more than talent. So like I think for that, there's like this aspect of AI of like if you look at it as a living entity that creates off of your mind waves, and you use it for that such, or you get addicted to it, it's almost like that's what AI is doing to you in the internet and things like that. It's almost solidifying the issues that you have, you know, rather than help you. So,
oh shit, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it like that, but that makes sense.
And I'll give it to the director because he said, he was like, no, I have no interest in AI. He's like, why would I do what I'm doing if I wanted to use AI? The point of art is to connect with like life and humanity from your perspective and like to put that out there. And I thought that was a really beautiful sentiment, you know. So this kid's got a good future ahead of him. He did a lot of planning. I got to give the technical aspects of this were phenomenal. He shot it well. Everything for a disgusting, ugly, yellow, endless labyrinth. It looks cool. It keeps you engaged. There's always something new to look at. The art direction in this is outstanding. I love the production design of this movie. He keeps you enthralled throughout the entire thing. It's interesting. I really like, for me, this is a 4 out of 5 movie. What you got for me? What's your rating?
As of right now, I'm with you there with a 4 out of 5. Like I was saying earlier, I still have to see this again to really, really, really just get a better understanding of it. It's because again, it's just one of those movies to where, and I think that's a good thing to where it's like, I got to go back and watch this again. I may have missed one or two things. I think it's a great thing because it makes you want to go back. It gives you a great reason to go back because one, you enjoyed it, and then two, it's like, I enjoyed this movie so much, but I think I may have missed one or two things, whether it be in conversation or visually or whatever the case may be. And I want to go back and figure out what I missed. But as of right now, definitely a 4. And people should check this out. People should definitely check this movie out.
100% agree. And before we get to final thoughts, I know you'll be doing this one on your show too, so make sure to go check that out though. But I guarantee that'll end up being like more of a part 2 because we'll both have seen it again. And get in deep with it over on your show. So make sure you follow Horror with Sir Sturdy podcast, but over on the Sturdo Vision channel. But final thoughts. What's before I give mine? What's some of your final thoughts on this movie and takeaways? Was it an effective horror movie to start?
I do think it was effective. I'm not gonna say it was like super scary, but I think it was an effective horror movie. I think this is also one of those type of films to where you have those friends that like a psychological type of thing, where it may not be into horror but want to get into horror. I think this would be a great way to get them into horror because you get all that with this. I want to see more of this. I want to see some sequels of this. I would love to see some sequels of this, but not only that, I want to see more from this director in general. But I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna say in the horror realm, like I want to see more of these which I love. You're seeing a lot of these directors come up in the horror, but I want them to not only come there, but just stay there, make it their home, and just have an amazing career from it. Just an amazing career from it. I understand there's other genres that may pay more and all that stuff. I get that, but I love when you have those people that are just like locked into horror because they love it and they're great at it. So please stick around. Please stick around.
Oh my God, yeah. This was an effective horror movie in my opinion too. I would put it more towards horror thriller rather than dealing with anything grotesque or anything that's going to really like turn you off. But it is such a spooky sort of look at so many things, and the way it's told, the way it's portrayed on camera and such, like you do feel uneasy whenever you're in the back rooms, and that's just great filmmaking to be able to convey that. And this was definitely a deep dive. That's why I'm glad we can get together and talk about it and stuff like that, and really like kind of share our feelings on it. And it's 4 out of 5, both of us. We did do a full review, an extra long review with our buddy Casey on Obsession. You can go check that out on the channel in our last podcast, or in our last podcast, I should say, if you want to listen. And tomorrow we're going to be doing a deep dive on our live show into He-Man and other children's cartoons from the 80s. That's going to be our topics on the channel, but you can check out the reviews as their own over on YouTube. I can't wait to get into that one. This was a fun one, and I can't wait to go over this one with you on your show when we get there too.
Same here, man. I cannot wait.
And I want to thank you so much for joining us today and having this conversation. I thought this would be a lot shorter, but we really got into it. But I want to thank you for being here again. Go follow my friend here, Sir Sturdy, over at Sturdovision channel. It's all linked down below. But Sturdy, got anything you want to say before we start getting out of here?
Yeah, I'll say this. Listen, people, watch more horror movies. Seriously, watch more horror movies. I don't care if you watch them from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all the way up till now. Just watch more horror. But do give some newer stuff a chance and dive deeper in the crates. Don't be scared to dive deeper in the crates. You're going to find some gems in there. I promise you. You're going to find some trash, but you find trash with the Hollywood ones too. So dive deeper in the crates.
Never know what you're going to have fun with. That's for sure. There's stuff that you never even heard of that is fun, and I think you'll enjoy. For sure. And yes, absolutely, I love it. I would like to get you back for a full review on Scary Movie 6 if we get a chance, so look out for that. I want to start doing, we have full reviews of everything that's coming out, and I'll go over them with you. They're usually a little shorter, around 4 or 5 minutes, and we go into what I liked about it on all aspects. But we are going to do some more longer reviews where we really get into the nitty gritty of movies like this, Obsession. We're going to talk about He-Man, like I said. We want to talk about Scary Movie 6. So look out for our longer reviews over on the YouTube channel as well. Sturdy, thank you again for being here. Thank you guys for all watching and listening. I truly appreciate it. Guys, please give us a subscribe to the channel. We truly means a lot to us when you do that. And it helps us build us out into the algorithm. And share us with your friends. Let them know. If you listen to our podcast, then go ahead and please rate and review us and let us know what you think there. But comment along. Hit like. That helps us as well. But comment. Again, I want to hear what you guys have to say. I know I say it a lot, but I really do. And please follow us at the Scene Snobs all over social media, all over over on Letterboxd, Substack as well, where we do written reviews of all these movies. So you can go check those out where they get way more in depth. And I like to really share my feelings on things when I get to write, and also we have a Patreon available. We do have a free tier. You can follow us, get all of our updates and things like that over there. But we also have paid tiers, which is, all of them help go back into the channel, building it out. And there's perks available for you as well. We have AMAs coming up once a month where you can go check us out and leave us questions. But we truly appreciate it. Until next time, everybody, I'm Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs, joined by the man, Sir Sturdy himself from Sturdovision channel. Thank you guys again. This has been our review of Backrooms. Let us know what you think. And until then, make sure you take care of yourselves. That's important. Be kind, rewind, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace.
Just wrapping up my podcast.